Hi. What we're going to look at is the role of the ADI, what the job is actually all about. If we look at the car here, it's travelling from left to right on your screen, it's heading towards where the red cross is. That's a potential incident. This is akin to what we're looking at when we look at the hazard perception test. We see lots of potential incidents. We mustn't click the button until that hazard develops, i.e. requires some input from the driver of the vehicle approaching it, other than just keeping an eye on it. So in terms of us as an ADI sitting next to a learner driver, there comes a point where if the learner isn't going to react to whatever's ahead of them, or the driver, if we're working with a full license holder, we must prompt them to act. So that's the point that you see on the screen here. We are prompting the pupil to act. What should then happen? I mean, that's equivalent to the 5 scoring window on the hazard perception test. This potential hazard has now developed. So if they don't react to the prompt, we must then escalate our intervention, and that then becomes perhaps a command. The command will be repeated and it will start quieter and get louder. For example, brake, 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 brake. Once we've given that command for the pupil to act, they should act. If they don't, that's when we jump in and keep everything safe. That would be the equivalent of the scoring window 1 on hazard perception. So we have an escalation of our intervention here, a hierarchy, if you like. So if we want the pupil to act here, then we have to give them a prompt. With the theory that prevention is always better than cure, we should be acting before that. There's a prevention zone here. This is where we're drawing their attention to what it might be ahead. Have you seen? Are you aware of? What is your plan for? In order for us to be intervening in that manner, we need to see it here in this, what I've labeled early vision zone. This is much earlier than we would look at these things as a driver. Much, much earlier. Because as a driver, this is our normal zone of vision. We can cope with anything that's ahead of us, up to and sometimes even a little bit beyond that potential incident there, and cope with it admirably and not get in any kind of trouble. But we've now got to get somebody else to do that. And there's going to be a bit of a delay in between us telling them what to do, them thinking about it and then doing it. So our zone of vision needs to stretch to this. This is the required zone of vision. So we need to get our eyes further along the road to give us time to think about what, spot it firstly, think about what we're going to say, formulate it, say it, give them time to hear it, work it out and react. So we're going to develop these skills because we're dealing now in tests that don't test your subject matter and necessarily knowledge. They're competence tests. So the competence that's being assessed at part 2 is that you spot things early and you don't get caught out by them. We remove the suddenly from our driving by seeing things early and adapting. So the skills we're building at part 2 all also play into the part 3 end of things. We're getting our eyes on main beam. We're looking at stretching our view along the road, to the side and behind us, so that we're spotting things extremely early and therefore not getting caught out by them. Our part 3 skills are really about, once we've seen it, having the learner react to it ahead of time if possible, but if not, then we need to intervene with our mouth, with our hands, with our feet. With our mouth, we ask questions, we raise awareness, we point things out. With our hands, we move the steering to avoid hitting things, we cancel signals that are unnecessary or inappropriate or confusing to the road users, and we intervene with our feet with the dual brake and perhaps with the clutch to prevent stalls, to control speed and slow maneuvers, that kind of stuff. So we're raising awareness with our questioning, with our prompting, by pointing things out that we've seen extremely early. We then need to help the pupil. If we've had to intervene in any way, shape or form, then we need to have a conversation about that. The box that covers this, really, the way the examiner is going to assess you is, the third box down in the risk management says, was the trainer aware of the pupil and the surroundings? Well, if you're not raising awareness, then you've not seen it, you've not said it. We've then got to intervene in a way that's appropriate. You know, if you're giving prompts when you should be breaking, or if you're breaking when you should be giving prompts, your level of intervention is not appropriate for that learner's needs. So once we've had to have an intervention, either before, during or after, we've then got to help the pupil to determine, is there something new to learn here in light of what we've just experienced? And if so, what? And how are we going to go about changing our behaviour when it comes to that again? So you would help the pupil determine new goals in light of this new understanding, and help the pupil develop, execute and reflect upon these new plans. So what we're doing here is we're adapting the lesson accordingly. And the box that measures this for you is, was the lesson plan adapted where appropriate to help the learner work towards their learning goals? And this is not just the learning goals that we set at the start of the session. This is also the goals that come up as a result of what we've experienced during the session. And we would then either add this new goal to the existing one, or we might replace it if it's more safety critical. So that's what you're being assessed on this exam. That can you put together plans that help the learner, or can you identify the learner's goals? Can you put plans together that help them to pursue and meet those goals? Are you able to observe what's going on and input accordingly, and then help the people learn from it and adapt the lesson thereafter? That's all the job is. It's all the job's ever been, really. Now, there are a lot of other videos that are going to help you with developing these skills here, the intervention skills, the prompting, the questioning, and the ability to see things earlier, but we'll deal with those in separate presentations. I hope that makes sense, and I look forward to seeing you in the next presentation. In the meantime, thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye now.